I watched my husband close his office door for the 5th time that week, heard the lock click, and something in my chest finally cracked open. 3 months. 3 months since David lost his job at the tech firm. 3 months of me covering every bill on my paramedic salary while he supposedly networked and job hunted behind that locked door. 3 months of watching our savings drain while I worked doubles, sometimes triples, to keep our heads above water. Our daughter Emma was only 3 years old, still in daycare we could barely afford, and I was running myself into the ground. The laugh came through the door first. High, excited, nothing like the defeated tone he used when talking to me about his job search. Then voices, lots of them, tinny through his headset, but unmistakable. Gaming voices! The kind of trash talk I heard from teenagers, not from a 32-year-old father who claimed to be on a conference call with potential employers. My hand went to the doorknob, locked, as always. My keys were in my purse downstairs. I pressed my ear against the wood instead. "Come on, guys, we got this. Push mid, push mid." David's voice, animated in a way I hadn't heard in months. "Yes, that's what I'm talking about. Chat, did you see that play?" Chat. My blood went cold. I pulled back from the door, my scrubs still smelling like the ambulance, my feet aching from a 12-hour shift. I'd just picked up Emma from daycare, paid another $200 we didn't have, rushed home because David said he had an important virtual interview at 6. It was 6:15. I walked downstairs on autopilot, got Emma settled with her coloring books, and opened my laptop. My hands shook as I typed his name into Twitch. I didn't even know his username, had to search through variations until I found it. David Gaming 47. 47 viewers. A camera showing our office. My husband wearing the button-down shirt he'd told me was for interviews, headset on, eyes glued to a screen full of explosions and gunfire. The stream title read, Road to Partner, Day 87. Let's get it. Day 87. I did the math. That was exactly 1 week after he told me he got laid off. I sat there, watching my husband entertain strangers while I'd been working myself to exhaustion, watching him laugh and joke while I'd been skipping meals to stretch our grocery budget. The chat scrolled by, people cheering him on, asking when he'd go full-time. Someone donated $5, the alert playing loud enough I could hear it upstairs. David whooped with joy. Full-time! He already was full-time. On my dime. I closed the laptop before I put my fist through it. Emma looked up from her drawing, those big brown eyes so much like her father's. "Mama okay?" "Mama's fine, sweetheart." The lie tasted like ash. I'd been living on lies for months and didn't even know it. The office door opened around 7. David came down, that fake, tired expression he'd perfected, running his hand through his hair. "Hey, babe, rough day. That interview didn't go well." "Really?" I kept my voice level, kept folding Emma's laundry. "What company was it again?" He hesitated, just a fraction of a second. "Techdyne." "I told you this morning." "Right. Techdyne. I'd never heard that name before. What position?" "Senior developer. They went with someone else." He opened the fridge, grabbed a beer. The beer I'd bought with my last $20. It's brutal out there, but I've got some promising leads for next week. I wanted to scream. Instead, I smiled. "That's good. I'm glad you're staying positive." Over the next week, I became someone I recognize. I started tracking his streams, watching from my phone during break work. He streamed every day, 4 to 6 hours minimum, always when I was at work or when Ella was at daycare. He'd built an entire schedule around deceiving me. The viewer count stayed around 40 to 60 people. His subscriber count was 12. 12 people paying him $5 a month. $60 total before Twitch took their cut. $60, while I was pulling 70-hour weeks. I checked our bank accounts. He'd been transferring money, small amounts, from our savings to his personal checking. Not enough to be obvious, but over 3 months, it added up to almost $4,000. Money I thought was going to rent and food. Money he'd said was for networking lunches and interview clothes. The rage that filled me was cold and precise. I didn't confront him. Not yet. Instead, I started documenting everything. Screenshots of his streams, timestamps, bank transfers. I called in a favor with my friend Rachel, a divorce attorney who'd been trying to get me to grab coffee for months. "Holy hell," Rachel said, scrolling through the evidence on her tablet. "He's been lying since day one?" "He didn't get laid off. He quit." My voice sounded dead even to my own ears. I accessed his work email. He gave notice voluntarily, said he was pursuing other opportunities. Without telling you? Without telling me. And he's been pretending to job hunt while streaming video games in my office, in my house, on my salary. Rachel's jaw tightened. This is financial deception. In a divorce, this is ammunition, especially with a child involved. The word divorce felt like swallowing glass, but I didn't flinch. What are my options? She laid them out. Colorado was an equitable distribution state, but his actions would matter. The lying, the deception, the unilateral decision to quit his job and drain our savings without consent. With Emma involved, it changed things, changed everything. I went home that night with a plan. David was streaming, door locked as always. I fed Emma dinner, gave her a bath, read her 3 stories, tucked her in with her favorite stuffed rabbit. Then I went to our bedroom and started packing his things, methodically, calmly. Everything he owned went into suitcases and boxes. Clothes, toiletries, his gaming, equipment, all of it except what was in the office. That I'd save for last. I worked until midnight, until every trace of him was contained and stackable. Then I lined it all up in the hallway outside the office store. At 12:30, I heard his stream end, the ritual sign-off he'd crafted. "All right, chat, that's it for tonight. Same time tomorrow, we're gonna crush it. Don't forget to subscribe." I waited until I heard his chair creak. Then I knocked. "Yeah, just a sec." His voice shifted, tired again, performative. The door opened. He saw me standing there and smiled. "Hey, sorry, I was just finishing up some applications and lost track of time." "No, you weren't." I kept my voice quiet. Emma was sleeping. "You were streaming. You've been streaming every day for the past 3 months, since the day after you quit your job." The color drained from his face. "What? No, I don't know what you're talking about." David Gaming 47. 87 days of streaming. 12 subscribers. $60 a month before Twitch takes their cut. I pulled out my phone, showed him his own stream page. Road to partner. That's your goal, right? To become a Twitch partner so you can do this full time? His mouth opened and closed. No sound came out. "You quit your job without telling me. You've been lying to me every single day while I work myself into the ground to support our family. You've stolen $4,000 from our savings account." $4,000, David. I didn't steal. That's our money. Our money that you took without permission to fund your fantasy while I skipped meals to feed our daughter. My voice rose and I caught myself, lowered it again. I've been working 70-hour weeks. I'm exhausted. I'm running on empty. And you've been playing video games. It's not just playing games. It's building a brand, building a community. You have 12 subscribers. 12. At $5 each, that's $60 a month. I make that in an hour. It takes time. You don't understand how Twitch works. Then explain it to me, David. Explain how lying to your wife is part of the business plan. Explain how abandoning your daughter is going to make you successful. The tears came then, hot and furious. Explain how you look at me every day, watch me break myself trying to hold us together, and feel nothing. He reached for me. I stepped back. "All your things are packed. They're in the hallway. You need to leave." "What?" "No, come on. We can talk about this." "There's nothing to talk about. You made your choice 3 months ago when you decided your dream was more important than your family, when you decided lying was easier than being honest." I pulled the envelope from my back pocket. "These are divorce papers. You'll be served officially next week, but I wanted you to know now." His face went white. "You can't be serious. Over this?" Over this? The laugh that came out of me was broken. You think this is nothing? You destroyed our trust, our partnership. You looked me in the eye every single day and lied. You watched me suffer and did nothing. That's not nothing, David. That's everything. Please, just let me explain. I watched your streams, all of them from this week. I heard you tell your chat that your wife doesn't understand you, that she doesn't support your dreams, that she's too focused on practical things to see your vision. My voice cracked. I would have supported you if you'd been honest, if you'd talked to me like a partner instead of an obstacle. But you didn't. You chose deception. I was going to tell you when I made it. You're never going to make it. The words exploded out of me. You have no plan, no audience, no path to monetization. You're living in a fantasy world while real life falls apart around you. And the worst part is, you don't even care. Emma's cry came from upstairs. I'd woken her. The guilt was immediate and crushing. Look what you made me do, David said. That was it. That was the moment something fundamental broke inside me. Get out. Get out right now or I'm calling the police. This is my house too. Not anymore. I'm the only one paying for it. I'm the only one who's been paying for anything. I pulled out my phone. You have 5 minutes to get your things and leave. After that, I'm filing a restraining order for financial abuse. You can't do that. Watch me. Maybe it was the look in my eyes. Maybe it was the phone in my hand. But something in him finally registered that I wasn't bluffing. He started grabbing boxes, loading them into his car. It took 3 trips. I stood in the doorway, watching, holding a now awake and confused Emma. She kept asking for Daddy. Each time she said it, it was like a knife. When his car was loaded, he turned back. You're going to regret this. When I make it big, when I'm pulling in thousands a month, you're going to regret pushing me away. If you ever cared about us at all, you'll sign those papers. Without a fight. I closed the door in his face. The next months were a blur of legal meetings and court dates. David fought me on everything. Custody, assets, support. He got a part-time job at a game store, minimum wage, and claimed he couldn't afford to pay child support. Meanwhile, he was still streaming, still chasing the dream. His viewer count had dropped to around 20. His subscriber count was down to 8. Rachel was ruthless. She presented every lie, every deception, every dollar he'd stolen. The judge's face when she showed the streaming evidence was something I'd never forget. David tried to claim it was a legitimate career path, that he'd been building a business. The judge asked how much he'd earned. David had to admit it was less than $300 total over 6 months. $300, while I'd earned over $60,000 in that same time. The divorce was finalized on a Tuesday. I got primary custody. He got supervised visitation every other weekend. He had to pay child support, a small amount given his current income, but it was something. The judge ordered him to get full-time employment within 6 months or face contempt charges. Our assets were split, but I kept the house since I was the one paying for it. He got his gaming equipment and his car. He moved in with his parents. They called me, angry, saying I'd ruined their son's life over nothing, that I should have been more supportive. I hung up on them. Emma cried for her daddy every night for weeks. I had no good answers for her. How do you explain to a 3-year-old that her father chose video games over her, that he loved streaming more than his family? You can't. So I just held her and let her cry and hated David with every fiber of my being. A year passed. Emma adjusted. She was 4 now, in preschool, doing better. The crying stopped. She saw David every other weekend, and he'd apparently gotten a job doing tech support at some company. He'd stopped streaming, or at least I thought he had. I didn't check anymore, didn't want to know. I started dating. Nothing serious, just dipping my toes back in. A few coffee dates, 1 dinner that went nowhere. It felt strange, being single again at 31, being a single mother. But I was managing. We were managing. Then Rachel called. You need to see this. Her voice was tight. She sent me a link, a Twitch channel. Not David's. Someone named Sarah, username Sarah Plays, a variety streamer with a decent following. About 5,000 followers, average viewer count around 200. Actually successful, or on her way. Okay, I said into the phone. Why am I looking at this? Scroll down to her About section. I did, and there it was. Streaming full-time thanks to the support of my amazing boyfriend David. Check out his channel too. My stomach dropped. I clicked the link. David Gaming 47 had been rebranded. New graphics, new layout, professional looking. His follower count was up to 1,500. I clicked on a recent stream. There he was, co-streaming with Sarah. Both of them laughing, playing games together. The chat was active, engaged. People were subscribing. He'd found someone who shared his dream, someone who supported it, someone who was actually successful enough to carry them both while he built his channel. They've been together for 6 months, Rachel said quietly. I did some digging. She's 24, no kids, makes about $3,000 a month from streaming. They moved in together last month. I should have felt angry. I should have felt betrayed. Instead, I felt nothing. Just a vast, empty nothing. Good for him, I heard myself say. Are you okay? I don't know. I watched David on screen, watched him smile at Sarah the way he used to smile at me. He got what he wanted, someone who fits into his world instead of asking him to fit into reality. He abandoned his daughter for this. I know. Emma was at the table, coloring, oblivious. But she's better off. We both are. I closed the laptop, didn't look at it again, didn't need to. David had made his choice long ago. He'd chosen the fantasy, the dream, the easy path where someone else carried the weight. I'd chosen Emma. I'd chosen responsibility. I'd chosen reality. Some nights I wondered if I was too hard on him, if I should have given him a chance to explain, to make it right. Then I'd remember the lies, the locked door, the way he'd watched me suffer and felt nothing, and I knew I'd made the right choice. Emma came up to me, holding her latest drawing. Look, Marma, it's us! 2 stick figures, one big and one small, holding hands under a sun. No one else in the picture, just us. It's perfect, baby. I pulled her into my lap, held her tight. We're perfect. And we were. Broken, maybe, different than I'd planned, but perfect in our own way. David got his dream. I got my daughter. In the end, I knew who got the better deal. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Would you have given him a second chance after discovering the lies, or was leaving the only option?